So the first step that we need to take is to create an xmlHTTP object and specify the PHP file that's going to run when that connection is open. And so you're probably asking yourself, what the heck's an xmlHTTP object? What that is, it's a object that allows a web page to talk to a database without having to leave the web page, right? So typically the way that a web page talks to the database is you have a form, you hit submit, the submit button goes to the server to a PHP file. That PHP file runs code that talks to the database, and then the PHP file grabs the data from the database and then sends the user back to the web page. Right. So like when you're logging into Facebook, you put in your credentials, you hit submit, and you leave to another web page, right? You leave and you go to your wall web page. And what's happening is it goes to the PHP file, it runs the code to get all the information from the database, and then it sends you to your wall's web page. All right. But we have another model like we have in Gmail, right? You're in Gmail, and suddenly you get a new email, right? And the new email just appears. So what's happening there? There's an XML object that is talking to a database in the background. It gets information, the new email, from the database, and it injects it into your screen so that you see it without having to press submit on a form, right? So that's what the XML object allows us to do. It allows us to do, it's called asynchronous, oh man, I forgot what it's called. It's Ajax. Yeah, it's asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Okay, so yeah, so that's the XML object, and that's what we're going to be using. And why are we going to be using that? Because when we are here, we hit save. Save is going to run the PHP file that's going to save all this data into the database. And then the header is going to take us back to this page. When we get back to this page, if we didn't have an XML object that would run and load the data into the web page, we would have 0, 0 here, and we would need to start over again. Okay, but we're going to have it so that when you get to this page here, it's going to have an XML object that's going to talk to the database in the background, grab all the information under your account, and insert it here, 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 and all of these owns, so that it's going to do this, right? Okay, so delete. It is going to talk to the database and insert it all in here without me having to press a button that says insert. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. So how do we do that? Well, we're over here and we have our load state function, right? And we're going to create our XML object like that. Okay, that's how you do it. So this is the object, and this is how you make a new XML HTTP request object. And then once you got that going, then you want to do this. Okay, so what these next two lines do is it opens up a connection to the server, and what is going to happen here is it's going to run this PHP file. But typically how that works is you press submit on a form and then it goes to the PHP file on the server. But here, when you have an XML object, it is going to do this in the background. So it's going to run this PHP file in the background without the user having to press submit on a form, right? And why? Because we are running load state right here in the start function, and the start function runs when the cookie clicker.php file opens up. So cookie PHP opens up, this start function runs, we load the sounds, we load the state. Loading the state jumps up here, makes the XML object, and then it runs cookie load state.php in the background. Okay, and that's where we're at right now.